Good evening, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome back into RGR Football. This is the Monday night live stream. We're going to have all kinds of questions to answer. We're going to have a great discussion about your Kansas City Chiefs as well as the NFL. That's what I cover on this channel. If you are new to it, make sure you hit the sub, the like, the bell notification so you know what's going on around here, because I'm going to cover a number of things. And yes, it's very Chiefs-centric, but a lot of other things tend to creep in. One of them is we're going to have a little bit of relaxation time. So this is from my friends over at Sanitas Brewing. I want to give you guys a look at that. So I should have poured it before we got started, but it's a nice, dark, black IPA. Something that I enjoy quite a bit. Hope you guys dig it as well. The tracking on the camera is going crazy, so I'm going to stop that. I hope that it feels good. I hope that it feels real good. Chiefs are 1-0. Got off to a great start. You saw our reaction pieces. Got Dan's right afterwards. You saw mine the next day. That's probably only going to happen during primetime games, the late night ones in particular. Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. The late games, the Sunday afternoon games, not a problem. You'll still have the live stream. I'm going to do that. That's the Chiefs breakdown video that I do, and that'll just be my game notes, my thoughts through the game fairly quickly after it. Usually we record the pod first thing, so somewhere around an hour post-game is when you're going to see that. And that's a live stream. You can make comments, join in here, jump everybody, give everybody a hello. A lot of the old-timers are always in here. Andy, Gary, Cole, I know Aaron will be in here tonight, and he's here on Sunday nights as well. But then Monday is when we get to this, and we start asking questions, and I start answering them. I'm going to do my best tonight to not get off on a rant and to keep up, because I don't want to lose anybody's. If you want to support the channel, it's really easy. All you got to do is hit the super chat, the super stickers, anything you like. In fact, somebody already did. Thank you very much. We'll get to your question in a minute. And please, if you do support the channel with a super something, ask a question. Let me get you something for tonight. Get you some value right away. The memberships are still on the way. The shirts are still on the way. Got a little bit sidetracked this last week trying to get everything ready for Thursday night. It threw off my schedule, to tell you the truth. But we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to jump in with Cole, who happens to be the first question up on my list. So CH to me was looking like Barry Sanders the other night. That is a tough comparison, Cole. I wouldn't put that on him yet. It's definitely not something that he's going to be able to live up to for quite a long time. But I do agree. Low to the ground, able to shift out of it, that kind of stocky lower body, it definitely lends itself towards reminding me of Barry as well. One of the all-time greats, honestly, I'd put Barry right at the top of the list. Walter Payton, Barry, and then Emmett, and that's great standards. So let's hope that it lives up that way. I thought CH played really well overall. Didn't even have to get a pass in the game. Just had to run. That thing that he did to Justin Reed, to plant his foot in the ground and go, that's what it's all about. And for me, and for a lot of people who expect him to be such a great fit, which he is, I've been telling you guys that since the day he was drafted, for him to be able to run as well as he did, I think was a focus. And Andy Reid told us today that it was a focus in getting him touches and getting the running game going. And that's stuff I love to hear. I'm going to do something special for you. I've got a couple of new wrinkles this year. We're going to do a stat review. I'm going to call it By the Numbers, I think. That'll be out tomorrow. Dan and I still don't have all 22. The NFL has not released it yet. We are waiting. Normally by now, we'd be starting to look at it, hopefully on Monday night. This week is their first week, so I'm going to give them some credit. Dan and I will have a film review, at least one of us this week, depending on when we get the film. Most weeks, you're going to get an offensive film review and a defensive film review. We're going to step it up. Dan's helping a lot. And Danilo's going to cover the tailgate getting ready for next week. So that's going to come out. I think everybody decided on Saturday nights is best. So leave your comments, especially if you're watching this not in the live stream, leave your comments below about what day is best. Do you want Sunday morning? Do you want Saturday night? That kind of thing. Going to have the game plan as always as well. And Clyde's going to be a big part of it. So I'm sure we'll come back to him. But Cole, that was a great first question. Gary, David Perez, nice to see you guys. Folks, if you are new or you're just out of practice, hit the question marks at the beginning of your question like Joshua did here. It helps me find them in the chat. And if anything, report anything to Aaron if I miss you or something like that, let me know. Aaron will keep me straight. So what you thinking on Warp playing with a cast on and the probability of him playing in week 2? Andy was really kind of caddish about it today. Andy Reid said, quote, he had some work done. That sounds like when I get the transmission fluid changed in my truck. I don't do it, but he does, and it's just getting work done. I think what that means is that it was a surgical repair. It wasn't extensive, and I don't think they want to give away the extent of it to opposing teams. So I don't think we're going to hear about it, to tell you the truth. And if we don't, that's okay. But the key is, Andy said they're going to see how it feels and go accordingly. I think that's great news because I expect him to miss probably this week. That's my personal expectation. Knowing that he broke something, it could be 2-3 weeks. But if it's just this week and then he's back for Ravens, I think that's a huge plus. Again, it depends on what the break was and how much they had to repair it. If there's pins, if there's stuff like that, you got to let the bone knit back together if you stick a pin in it. So there's a lot to be done. When we know more, I will definitely let you guys know more. Great question, Joshua, and welcome. I think that might be your first question that we ever answered here. Sneed did look good, Gary. Looking for more questions, you guys. Trying to get down. Let's see. Gary's here. Oregon's here. What's up, Chris? Jimmy's here. Hi. Natalie's here. How are you? Oh, I didn't know you were in Louisville. So's Danilo. Yeah, and he'll be back Saturday or Sunday, whatever you guys decide. Yes, it was. I agree. Adam, cheers, buddy. Glad you made it. And thanks for checking out the beer video today. Folks, I've been doing more beer reviews over on RGR Craft with my buddy Mike Munhall, who's going to help me lock that down, especially during football season when I'm not doing as much beer work. But definitely a side project passion of mine. Jimmy's Phillips, how are you, bud? I noticed Dana around the ball an awful lot. Maybe not making the play, but figuring it out. Are you impressed? Yes. I kind of had a feeling about this. I was one of the few people that predicted him onto the 53 in the first place. You can ask all the other talking heads around town about what they thought. I knew as soon as Brendan Daly said that they'd been tracking him since he was a sophomore at Central Michigan. I knew how he was going to fit. And quite frankly, Brendan Daly's maybe the best defensive line coach since Rob Marinelli. That's how good he is. And he's specifically good at getting the most out of guys in the way that they can do something to affect the game, affect the passer. It's not the old school. It's not the speed rush. It's not the Von Millers. He didn't do it in New England, and I don't think he's going to do it here. He's going to take everybody's strength and make it stronger, and he's going to make them be somebody they have to play around. And I think that's exactly what's going on with Mike Dana. Pat Sperduto talked about him when he was drafted. They had been scouting him since he was a sophomore at Central Michigan. I think that came to pass, and I'm not very surprised, but I am impressed. Now it'll be about taking the next step. You got all the rust off. You got used to the NFL speed. Now can you finish plays? Now can you affect the quarterback, not just by moving him, but by hitting him? And it's one thing to get hurries. I can show you guys the defensive stats over on PFF. Hurries is an important one because it goes into the total pressures, but nothing can replace hits. Quarterback sacks, quarterback contacts. That's what it's about. In fact, one of the stats that I'll throw at you guys tomorrow, something that I track really closely, is about contact with the quarterback by the defense. Now, scrolling is becoming troublesome. I'm already falling behind, so we're going to move on, you guys. Ivory B, welcome to the show. Why wasn't Antonio Hamilton able to play, but Willie couldn't get a defensive snap? Here's the difference. Antonio Hamilton is a 4-year vet. That's why. Adapting to the calls and everything like that is not tough for him. Oh, and I missed something already. Have to go way back up. Sorry, you guys. Antonio, that's why, because he's not having to adapt as much. I'll get back to your question later, too. Michael, how much was run success, more O-line dominance or too deep safety as a result? A bit of both. Light boxes always help, especially for a rookie. But also, when they did bring guys in, the zone blocking worked because CEH can cut. That goes a very, very long way. Is CB free agent search now off the table with the rookie showing? I don't know that it's off the table, but I think they would have done it if they were going to do it. We'll find out more tomorrow. Tuesday's a day that they might bring somebody in. We'll see. Natalie, Did Osamel's play impress you? It looks like his shoulder is healed. It is, but it also bothers me because he was 100% before, and then he missed a couple of days of practice. So it looks like it might be something that can pop up on him from time to time. He looked good to me. He actually got a lot of love on the broadcast. That's nice to see. I just don't know what it means long term, so we're just going to have to play it by ear. Chris, how are you? What do you think about holding Hardman back with D-Rob dropping passes already? I'm trying not to run anybody down, but you know how I feel about a wide receiver's number one job is to catch the ball, period. And I theorized on the Locked On Chiefs podcast today with Chris, and it'll be out here in a little bit. It may already be out, actually. I wonder if Andy wasn't holding McCole back and not really doing those things to exploit the middle, A, because they were in too high, and B, because I just don't think that he felt that they needed it. So I think that might have been playing possum a little bit. You know what I mean? Let's see. And there it is. Ian Roberts, the first super chat. I want to make sure I got back up to get that. Thank you, Ian. As always, a huge supporter of the channel. Give him a hand. Give Aaron Morrow a hand. Cheers to you. And do you think Kelechi Osemele is going to be our low-key best offseason move in the run game to help CEH? I bet you're thrilled that we ran the ball. I actually am. And I'm trying not to kid myself. Andy said today that they really meant to establish the run with CEH to get him reps. And I think that's a big part of playing behind Osemele as well, because you have to get used to how those guys move. Osemele is not the athletic guy that like LDT is or Mitch Morse has been. In the interior, you don't have that much room to maneuver. So you got to get used to how a guy's going to move someone out of the way. Or there's a couple of plays where you see Osemele actually take an inside slant to turn his guy. And that's something that Clyde's going to have to get to know very, very quickly, because it does have an effect on how you attack the line of scrimmage as the back. So I was just really encouraged all the way around. I thought Wiley played well as well. I want to see them get a little bit more drive off the ball. I understand. We heard today that Austin Ryder is hurting a little bit in his knee. They have Dan Kilgore behind him as the backup. And you guys know how I feel about Ryder. That's one of my big problems with him is he doesn't get push. And he did get pushed back quite a bit. And that's just from looking at the broadcast film. I have watched it a couple of times. And when I get the all 22, I'll let you know for sure. But it is a concern. And thanks for the support, Ian, as always. Let's see. Are the Patriots a threat to the Chiefs? Zane, that's a really good question. I think I had them at about 500 before the season started, and I'll give credit. Cam Newton looks like he's healed, and he looks like he's healthy. And I think it may be an extension of how you play Deshaun and how you play Lamar is how you play Cam. And I'm sure we'll get to that here in a little bit. If we don't, it's going to involve Dorian O'Daniel. So I think there's more reps for him on the table now because of the opposition, rather than the fact that I thought he played pretty solidly. He only got like 5 reps, though. He got 17 against the Texans in the playoff game. So there was a discrepancy there. The dude, you're being very dude. What's up? How long do you think Ward will be out? I think it's a week, possibly 3 at the outside, and I think he'll be back. And Hamilton looked bad. Are you worried about him filling in? I am. I was worried about it before. And as we were talking about Hamilton before, he's a 4-year vet. That's why he got on the field and Willie Gay didn't. But he's a special teamer. He is not a guy that's played a lot of snaps. He might have played more. I'd have to go look, actually, and maybe I'll do that. Antonio Hamilton played 54 snaps last night. And if I look at his snaps on defense in 2019, he got a grand total of 134 snaps. So that tells you something. For the Giants, who weren't a very good team last season, he wasn't able to get on the field. I think that they're playing up some of his abilities because they have to. And I think they do see a little bit of spark of upside in him. I thought that he would play better, markedly better off the ball when he was lined up a little bit deeper. That was, 4 or 5 snaps at safety rather than at nickel. He got beat badly when he was trying to press out of that stack formation that went for the long gain. And I think that kind of shows you he's not physically capable up at the line of scrimmage. That's what I'm mostly concerned about. So put him in space. Let him be the roamer. He's got the speed to cover a lot of distance, so I think that plays to his strengths. Tommy, how about that Clued? Okay. I like that Clyde Clued. I'm pretty excited about what the future is going to hold for Clyde in this offense. It is going to get better, you guys. How do you feel about Dorian? Big amount of play. I wouldn't say a big amount. He played special teams, but I think Dorian got I thought it was 5 snaps. Let me double check. And guys, I'm just looking over here at PFF real quick because I have my second monitor up. And I think for that, it's perfectly fine. I thought that he did a good job. Like it was a sack and a tackle, or was that all one play? And he rushed a little bit and he did his job. And yeah, according to PFF, it was 5 snaps. I do believe that matches what the NFL had. So I want to see more out of him, and I think we will. Especially when you see the matchup up against Lamar. He's one of the guys that can try to keep up with him, shadow him a little bit. I wouldn't call it a spy because I don't think it was just waiting on him. He had some other pass rush obligations as well from the way that it looked to me. But now also with Cam too. So I think you could see it, especially in passing downs. The first time I remember seeing Dorian was in a 3rd down situation. So that makes sense to me. Michael Donegan, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know you asked questions, and I'll get back to yours down a little bit lower too. Gary, what college kids coming out do you like to see in the draft in 2021? I like Lamar Chase. I like Pat Surtain II. I don't think either of them are going to be around when the Chiefs pick. But we'll get deeper into the college class here pretty soon because I think a lot of them aren't going to have any new film. So we're not going to have a whole lot new to go off of. Great question, Gary. Dennis, what can be done to improve the Chiefs' tackling? This is a real area of weakness. Honestly, it just comes with reps. Because they didn't have preseason games, and because they had their normal CBA-controlled amount of live hitting, they're just rusty. They didn't have an opportunity to practice it against preseason opponents. So you have to treat the tackling part as a couple weeks behind. By week 3 against the Ravens, I expect them to be better. By week 5, I expect them to be up to speed and normal. Why was it Antonio Hamilton? I got you, Ivory. I think I answered that one. Casey, how are you? How long will Ward be out? And is it a hard cast? He can play with a hard cast. That is within the rules. I think it's about how far it comes down because they don't want him to use it as a club. What I expect to see is a wrist to a thumb. Kind of like we saw with Kendall Fuller. And it might even be less than that. You can sometimes just wrap it around here and down and around the hand, and that's enough to stabilize it. We don't know if it's a thumb or if it's just a mid-hand fracture. There's not a whole lot you can do that. You just want to protect it from more impacts is really what it's about. Cole, when will Locked On Chiefs uploads to YouTube resume? They will not. Going to need you guys to go over and get on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts and that kind of thing. What the network decided, the Locked On Network, and if you guys don't know, Locked On has podcasts all over the place. One for every NFL team, all of baseball, all of hockey, all of basketball. Well over 150 shows, I think it is. In fact, I just got the slots. I'm also going to be doing the Locked On NFL on Thursdays. So I'm going to preview every game for them, and I'm going to hit the national stories with my new partner, Chris Carter. We're going to cover one day a week, and we're kind of rotating through the whole NFL thing. But what used to be Matt Williamson, I'm sliding in that spot on Thursdays. So that will be interesting. But what the network wants to do is they're going to start their own live streaming YouTube channel. We're going to start having video from Locked On as well. And so they wanted us to pull all of the Locked On podcasts out of YouTube to just keep it concentrated over there. So it really is an audio format. It's a podcast. So I would ask that all of you guys go grab, if you're on Android, grab Podcast Addict. It's really simple. You can get it from the iTunes feed or the Megaphone feed or the Google feed. It's all over the place. It's on all the major ones. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can get Locked On Chiefs. And it's back and forth with me and Chris over there. If you guys don't know, Cole obviously listened to it on YouTube. We just gotta move it around. I'm sorry, you guys. CJ, are you worried about the risk of injury with CH getting so many carries with Darrell being our only real sustainable backup? A little bit. And I think that it was a game where it gave Andy a chance to get him reps where he wasn't necessarily worried about the workload overall. I think that was important to him. So he got there, got it done, kind of like really exposed him to the speed of the NFL. And I think it'll probably back it off to not only do I not think they'll run 50%, I think they're going to settle in hopefully a little bit more than they used to, which on average they've been running about 32, 34% the last couple of years. I want to see them at 42, 44, somewhere like that. If they do that, I think it'll be a little bit more split with Darryl getting a little bit more, but definitely you can't take him off the field that much because he's just too good. So that's where I see it, you guys. Nathan, why Robinson play over Hardman? Honestly, I think it was matchup. And I think they might be holding back a little bit for Hardman. Pono, how are you? Not one pass to Clyde, and he just tore it up. 2 passes, actually. He just didn't catch them. He was targeted twice, didn't make a catch. I think a couple of them were a little bit quick, to tell you the truth. How wide offense is the offensive scheme now? It opens everything up. You saw that Pat threw a lot shorter this game. When I see the all-22, I'll be able to confirm this, but I've been telling you guys all summer, teams are going to play him deep more. Split safeties and possibly 4 deep and try to play those deeper zones, and that opens it up for Clyde. It gives you not only a lighter box the majority of time, sometimes they'll bring somebody down to try to fill that gap, but it leaves you a lot of space. And so if they're crowding the line and they're playing deep, there's all that middle ground that he's going to run those arrows. He's going to come out. They'll split him out eventually because he's good at it, and they'll run him back into the middle. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. Avery, how are you? With CH overly impressing, man's Snead's performance as a rookie must have been the most important thought Thursday. It was. Snead honestly fulfilled. He played better than I expected him to his first game out as a rookie. And you guys know that I've been high on him since they brought him in. It's funny, actually. A lot of people, the Arrowhead Pride guys, a lot of the beat writers like, oh, now they're all over Snead. Well, I've been telling you for 6 months how good he was going to be. Welcome to the bandwagon, folks. So keep that in mind. But yes, it was probably the next most important. I will say this, though. I was really encouraged by Tershawn Wharton, who didn't get a lot of press, but I thought he played a very good game, and they're going to need him with Colin Saunders being out. That elbow, we haven't heard confirmation about how the extent of it is, but I think Tershawn Wharton is in for a bigger role. Let's see who's next. Stevie Keys, thanks for your super chat. Appreciate it as always, Mr. Keys. Are you rethinking your predictions for CEH? Not yet. That's a good point. That was a lot to accomplish in one game, but I don't know if they're going to sustain that because I think there is a little bit of a concern about longevity getting through the whole season at that rate. So I'm not going to revise it yet. Give me a couple of weeks, and if he's still cooking along, I'm going to have to, right? Ivory. Oh, this is the question we started before when I skipped around. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I think you get it now. I think Will's just not into the playbook enough. I think they're bringing him along a little more slowly because it's certainly an area of weakness. We saw between the linebackers not being able to cover, any of them not being able to cover, as well as some run fits that I don't think worked. I think they're concerned. They want to get him on the field, but they don't want to have to take him back off and ruin his confidence. They want him 100% ready to go and make an impact. I think he will. Yes, everyone, please give Aaron a hand for helping me because I need help. There's too many comments for me to keep up. Half the time I fall behind. And unfortunately, in order to use the software that puts them up here, I have to scroll faster or it knocks them off my list and I can't scroll back down anymore. So I'm working on that. Does D-Rob have 1 foot out the door next year? I'd love to say that, but they like him. I thought he had 1 foot out the door this year and they brought him back. So Mike, I don't know. I'm not the expert. If it were my decision, I would look for someone else, but that's me. How do we slow down the Ravens? Pennell will be back, yes, but I'm worried about the DBs. And that's fair, Pono. If you guys missed it, the rookie Dobbins looks good, and they still got Ingram. And I think they're going to run more option with Lamar. I thought they were trying to work on the passing game this first game against the Chiefs. They're going to run because they know that they can get some stuff done. But it comes down to how efficient can they do it. The Chiefs scored on 6 of 9 possessions against the Texans. The Texans only scored on 4 of 9. That's a significant difference. If the Ravens get off to a slower start and they're not hitting on all their possessions, they're going to have to start throwing, and that's going to limit the run game. And then the DBs will be attacked. But I think Spags will be able to adjust, and I like what we saw from the young guys. Bo P. Keys is likely to get some time, you guys. Austin, how are you? I think this is your first question, too. What's the most likely reason Willie isn't playing? I think it's playbook. I think it's assignment. I think it's mental part. Clearly, he's physically ready. And I think it's probably a little bit of lack of take on against the run, to tell you the truth. Those are all my opinions. I haven't even seen him practice yet, so I'm guessing at this point. That is my educated guess from what I saw in film in college, which was pretty limited. Kurt, how are you? The goal line got rocked. What's your take? They need to get better. That's the one area of concern on the offense is all those rushes inside the 5 and general short yardage. They didn't get it done. When you have to go to a tight end, fullback blocked slant in order to score from the 2, you're not running well. I think that's about chemistry, though. I think part of it is Ryder. He got pushed back a lot in that game. Assembly played good. I think Wiley played pretty good, except for a play here or there, which is more like Wiley. He's not as consistent. But I think if they can get Ryder up to speed, get him healthy, or if Kilgore plays, I think they're going to be able to run better. Let's see. Gary, how are you? Do you think he could win Rookie of the Year? If he keeps it up, he could definitely win Rookie of the Year, Gary. Chris, how are you? Do you think Andy is trying to keep certain things off film by not using Clyde in the passing screen game? Yes, I definitely do. I think part of it was they wanted to concentrate on getting downfield with him in the run game. They know what he can do as a pass catcher. I think they're trying to pull defenses in a little bit, not put things on tape until they have to. So look for them to be a little stingy with expanding the offense for now. Stevie, thoughts on Hardman's lack of playing time? I think he's being hidden a little bit, and I think maybe it was just a matchup thing. Let's see. Yes, there we go. Nathan, how are you? Okay, talked about Wharton. I'm glad you brought him up. I'm pretty high on him now. When I get the All-22, I'll have a better idea, but hopefully we'll get that tomorrow. If not, you guys, I'll have some other content for you, but Dan and I are going to be doing reviews. Pono, same thing. Can you do a film on Mike Dana? We can try, Jamie. I'm not sure I can get that done this week. I am going to do the defense, so I'll try to throw something in there. I was going to focus on Snead, but we'll get there. And Dan's going to handle the offense this week. We might be flip-flopping that around all season, but it won't be all the same thing all the time. We're going to try to keep it just really varied so it doesn't get stale. Natalie, did Wharton surprise you? Yeah, a little bit. Like, I thought he would be okay. But he was definitely solid enough that he'll – I don't know that they bring in another guy that jumps him in the rotation. If Saunders is out like I expect him to be, and we haven't heard that announced yet, but I think we will. Normally you'd think try to get a signing, try to bring somebody in or up from the practice squad, right? Whoever that is, normally you would think that it would jump the 5th guy in the rotation, right? I don't think that's the case this time. So we're going to see what happens. Yeah, Scott, you are absolutely right. I was really happy with that. That's 2 years in a row where at least for one game, I mean, and it is only one game, you guys, so we gotta take it with a grain of salt. But that's 2 years in a row where the rookie class has shown up early and shown up well. Gary, did Andy Reid have the best coaching staff? Does he? I mean, there's arguments to be made there. The Ravens staff is very good. The Niners staff is very good. The Seahawks staff is very good. There are a number around the league, but he's certainly in the mix. I think there are some questions here or there, but I think a lot of it is about fit. And I think this group fits Andy. And that starts with Spags, and the defensive guys fit Spags. 88 Flexen, how are you, bud? Thoughts on Willie Gay not getting a single defensive snap? Like I said, I think it's coming. Hopefully sooner than later. I want to see him out there. I'd rather see Willie struggle and be athletic and be what he can be than watch Damian Wilson play in the nickel, to tell you the truth. I love Damian in the base. I don't like him in the nickel. Jamie, got your question? Yep, I will try to put something in there and take a look at him real quick. It all depends on when we get the all-22, you guys. There you go. Question marks. There we go. Is there a chance they could promote Damone Harris from the practice squad? The only problem is that Damone won't go inside and play tackle. So I don't think so. They kept him for a reason. They like his speed rush off the edge, but he's not a guy that's going to go play inside with the guards. That's not his game. Lost my mouse here, you guys. I'm going to have to use this. I think my batteries are dead. Did D-Rob do himself any good? No. I think he might have hurt his playing time. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully, that means that McCole Hardman gets more time. D-line fillers until Pennell and Saunders get back. Wharton's definitely going to play. I think they might bring up, I think it's Braxton Hoyt, that's on the practice squad. He'd be my first guess that he'll come up. He's going to be practicing in with them, and hopefully we'll know a little bit more. They have to tell us, though, because the beat reporter's not going to be in practice. So we won't know who's lining up unless they decide to tell us. Let's see. Oh, should be DOD do himself good? Yeah, I think he may have, especially again with not only Lamar coming, but now Cam Newton looking like he's as mobile as he used to be, or at least fairly close. I do think DOD has a role to play, maybe more so than he did a week ago. Aaron, how are you? Glad to see you're bringing up the boy. I like the kid. Does Lavert Hill get brought up the practice squad with Ward having a fracture? Will anyone or who, or will they grab a free agent? I don't think they want to spend the money, so I'm not looking at a free agent. I've heard, I am so tempted to do a rumors because of the people putting out that they're signing Prince Amukamara, like a certain YouTube channel that does that. They're not. Amukamara cannot play in this defense. They don't want him. If they brought him in, it would be out of sheer desperation. I do not expect that to happen. But Lavert Hill, yeah, he might be the next guy up. Certainly, Bo Peep Keys will not be inactive next week. I can tell you that. So that's something. Adam, can Kelce on pace for 1,200 yards again? You know, he's going to have ups and downs. Kelce always does, especially when you got other mouths to feed in this offense. But yeah, let's not pretend that another 1,000-yard season isn't in the making. Sean, was Snead a product of average receiving core or great pressure, and can he keep it up with tougher competition? I don't consider that receiving core average. Stills, Fuller are very good. Cobb is not what he used to be, but he's still pretty good. They are good. They're on the better side. I'd say they're probably somewhere between 10 and 12 in the league. So I think that's good. Against tougher competition, the question's going to be alignment and power. He's an aggressive kid. He plays the press pretty well. If he has to play against, say, a Hollywood Brown against the Ravens, he wins that matchup at the line, in my opinion. Hollywood's a little bit faster, not a ton, but a little bit. You saw how Legarius has that 4.38 speed. That's significant, but it doesn't necessarily get you all the way home. So I think that he will do well. I just don't know how well. Ryan Langford, is it just me, or do the Chiefs seem to be the most well-polished and well-balanced during week one? You know, I can get on board with that. There are a couple other teams that stood out. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But yeah, I mean, that comes from returning so many people on offense, and it comes from having a staff that is not only forward-thinking, but really expert at what they do. Cole, who fills in for Ward until Breland returns? It's going to be Snead and Fenton on the outside. My guess is they're going to either put Badger down or they're going to try to bring in Antonio Hamilton down, which I don't really like, but they'll probably have Keys active, and then maybe they'll bring up Hill or somebody else. You mentioned replaying Possum on offense. Did you think Spags was playing on defense near the end? A little bit, yeah. I mean, he certainly wasn't pressing anything and trying to get some of the younger guys in there. Tedrick Thompson got a couple of snaps early, but he definitely played more late when they took Thornhill out. So I think he was not trying to put too much stress on the back of the defense in particular, where you might give up something kind of silly. So that's part of it. Let's see, Michael. Like your husband. Okay. I hope that Pringle gets more reps too. I'm really excited about his upside. Why did everyone cover the booze and not the fact that we balled out? Because it's a big deal. Because I think the shock and the reason that it was booze is because it's a small crowd in front of a Super Bowl champion, in front of a team that like one guy knelt. So all the controversy that you thought was coming, people standing there, two teams standing there upright in a show of unity, and you boo them in a moment of silence, that's not cool. That's not supporting your team and its players and what's going on that is inequality in the country. And I understand people don't want politics in their sports, but that's why they covered the booze, because it's just a little bit far. For 60 seconds, you can't be respectful of them trying to stand there and not disrespect anyone. I thought that was a little too far. How much better is Rich Morse than Ryder? orders of magnitude. The problem with Mitch is that he is injury prone, and the concussion thing is scary. I hope that he stays well this season, but you never know. He's stronger, more agile, and honestly, I think he adjusted the line better. I think he made the other guys more aware of stunts. Do we need a short yardage goal line back? No, you have Darrell. The problem is a lot of Darrell's carries were against boxes that were more full, and that's part of the problem. Either of them, CEH, Darrell, Darwin, any of them, they have to have push from the offensive line when you're in short yardage and they know you're running it. That's just the way that it is. It needs to come from the offensive line. Any news on Saunders? 0. Didn't hear a peep out of it from Andy Reid today. There's been some conjecture, I guess, amongst some of the people that cover the team, but nothing that I can confirm. Do you think that the defensive performance credit goes more to the CBs or the Texans drops? I wouldn't say it was the Texans drops. There was one that was it Fuller that got Snead turned all the way around, and it was an incomplete pass, but I think that was more a little bit of inaccuracy on the quarterback, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't have called that one a drop. But yeah, you have a good point. There are a couple of plays that got away from the Texans that should have been caught, in my opinion, that would have put the Chiefs a little bit farther down. But overall, when you're talking about rookies or second-year guy like Fenton, I think that's really positive. I thought overall the line looked okay. Again, the short yardage is the concern. Have I given up? I'm trying not to. Anthony didn't play as well as he needed to the other night, and I'm hoping that he bounces back. Oh, okay, Cole. I think I answered your question about Locked On, so I'm going to go over that one again. We need more corners for the immediate future. Who do you think that they could target as a free agent? Ivory, I agree with you, but I think the Chiefs will try to put Antonio Hamilton in there. And like I said, I don't know if there's many free agents out there that I want. I think they'd rather roll with their young guys and get them experience at the cost or at the risk of costing you some points. Aaron, I was most impressed with our O-line, most disappointed with the LBs. What were you most impressed with and most disappointed about? I was most impressed with the young secondary guys. Not just Fenton and Snead, but Thornhill as well. We kind of forgot about him because nothing got behind him. And for a guy coming off of an ACL, I felt like he was really solid back there and gave Tyron something to play with his back up against. And I think Tyron plays best with that. And I'm going to tell you this. From what we saw, not getting things deep, being there in the run game, if Juan Thornhill can stay healthy, they could be the best safety duo in football. That's how good he can be. And I hope it happens this season. Which injury causes you the most concern? It's got to be Ward, because teams are going to have to throw against them. Secondarily, I'm concerned about Colin Saunders. I think he's primed for a bounce up year. I want to see him do it. He's just got to get back to where he's healthy and he's able to deliver power with that arm. Bryce. Neiman looked bad and was the lowest graded defenders by PFF. You're absolutely right. Do you think Willie will get out there more next week? I hope so. I think if he doesn't get out here this week, he's going to have to against the Ravens. You got to get him out there, even at the cost of him making some mistakes. You got to get him developing and improving and getting up to the NFL level, because you're not getting quality play out of at least one of the linebackers right now. Carlos, what happened to Thompson, the RB? He's third on the depth chart, so he beat out DeAndre Washington. He's not going to get time until there's a reason. Right now, it's going to be Clyde, Darrell. Clyde, Darrell. That's the way it's going to go. And I think it should even out. Like the other night, it was 25 touches to 9 touches. So what is that? Right about a third? No, about a quarter. I think it's going to be somewhere around that. I think it should be more of like thirds, like 2/3 Clyde, 1/3 Darrell. And I think that's good balance to keep Clyde from being overworked and giving a little bit of change up. And you saw Darrell didn't have success in the run game. He needs a wider gap to run through. He's a bigger dude. That requires the offensive lineman to open bigger holes. But you saw him in the pass game. I think that's going to continue to work just fine. Dirty Dan need to be more consistent. Yes. They put him in a bad spot, though, because they played him a lot at nickel linebacker up in between the tackles, and that's not where Dan does his best work. He's got to be that strong safety close to the line, but not the guy that's got to eat a guard right in his face. That's tough. And Dan missed a couple of tackles. I think that's just rust. It's not a big deal. Dan Sorensen's going to be a steady defender like he always has been, as long as they don't try to put him in free safety. Aaron, how surprised were you how much they ran? And was it only because of the blowout? Andy said today, Aaron, that it was a plan. They wanted to get the running game established with Clyde, and they wanted to get him reps. It made me happy. I couldn't have asked. And Anthony Sherman played 11 snaps. Not only the first down carry that he got, not only the block on the touchdown for Sammy, but he played more. And that's what I want. Just balance. I'm not asking him to be, run the veer every 5 seconds, but I want more balance. I think it's going to be great when they do, because it's going to force defenses to come up when Anthony's in there. And if you continue to run at a 40-45% clip. What's up? FLDB. Sorry, I had to say that in letters. Townsend looked good. Great holds and decent punts. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I thought his control was really good too. Getting those punts down where they were fieldable by his coverage team, but really tight to the goal line and trying to keep it in really bad situations. I'm excited about him. And I got a kick out of the memes on Twitter too that said that he's looks like the cousin of Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback from Clemson. They do have an eerie look to themselves. They look like each other. Excuse me, guys. So yeah, I was impressed with his play. Ivory. Yeah, I understand. I tend to agree with you. Do you think Keys will play some at corners? Yeah, I do think. I don't know how many snaps, but I know he'll dress is my guess. And I do think he'll get a little bit of time. How does the coaching staff determine the inactive list for each game? It's about matchups, and it's about what you think you might need, depending, like when you play Aaron Donald, you keep an extra lineman no matter what, even more than the 7 that you keep, because Aaron Donald can wreck your life, not just your play. So it's all about who's where and what they expect to get thrown at them. How happy are you with the methodical drives? I was really happy with that, and I thought it showed control from the quarterback. Mahomes' maturation continues, folks. He's not done growing. He's not done getting better. That's scary for the rest of the NFL. Brian Strange, how are you? Do you think Spags is saving Willie for week 3 against the Ravens and their tight ends and Lamar? I don't know that they're saving him. I don't think so. That would not be my inclination. But it is a possibility. Uh-oh. I scrolled too far. No, I think I'm okay. I missed a super chat. Oh, no. I addressed that one from Stevie. Okay, good. I think there's another one down below here. Jamie. Nope, I answered that. There we go. I think my favorite season storyline is Mahomes going 2-0 against Tampa Bay this year. I don't know that he's going to see him twice. Not impressed. And I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I don't know that I buy all the hype around the Tampa Bay Bucks. Cole, assuming COVID is under control, will you go to training camp next season? Yes, for sure. I really missed it. I like being there. It actually gives me a better idea of how to predict what's going to go on with the roster and what that means about development of the defense and the offensive looks in particular. The offense, you never know what's going to go crazy. It's a little more predictable on the defensive side. Sexy accident. He looked rusty. He didn't look very good. I have faith that he'll improve again, though. In your opinion, the Chiefs' defensive sex more about them or the Texans? I do think it was about them rather than the Texans, to tell you the truth, because the Texans ran the ball okay. You didn't see them recover there, and what they did is they helped themselves where they could. Chris Weishman, thank you very much. I appreciate the super sticker. I'm hoping you have a question down below. Aaron, if I missed anybody's questions or super chats, please let me know. I had that scrolling thing happen again. I need to get off of my laptop when I do these, you guys. I'll have to get like a vertical display or something. Pono Osamele was a beast. Do you think I think they could take him on the bench? I don't know, man. I don't know. He kind of scares me. He's a nice guy, though. From every interview I've ever seen, I've never spoken to him, but he looks like a nice guy. Can we withstand the injury on the O-line? Yes, Casey. Dan Kilgore is a center. He played for the Dolphins last year. He should be able to step right in. They have Darrell Williams on the practice squad they could pull up if they need to as well. And I think Darrell's got a future in the league. I really do. I think he just obviously wasn't quite ready, as ready as I thought he would be right now. Michael, Veach looking like a genius mad scientist printing his own money. Predict ions for 2021 Master Moves. I can't predict Brett Veach. I've tried. I know some tendencies. And if I get to talk to him eventually, I will probably get some more insights. But right now, I'm going to hold off on that. Autodidactic professional. Sorry, Professor. It took me a minute. What's the deal with Taco being inactive? He's proof that he's officially a bust. No, I wouldn't say that yet, but it is concerning. I was surprised, to tell you the truth. And again, I don't know if they felt they just wanted to get Mike Dana in there. Dana played a lot of snaps, and I thought he played pretty well. How many did he play? He played 29 snaps, Mike Dana did. And he graded out okay, even by PFF. So, I mean, I think that's encouraging, but if that goes on and he's still inactive a couple more times, then yes, I think you can go ahead and use that word. Jeremy, think Spags held back a little bit, yeah, but not specifically with Willie, and I think he just was trying to play it conservative, keep things in front of him. Ivory, honestly, with the injuries to DB, should we just go out and get Earl Thomas? No, no. Free agency or call up DB death. Who's your guy in either case? I like Lavert Hill. I would bring him up. They're going to play Keys more, is my guess, even though I'm pretty sure he's not ready. Lavert might not be ready either, but I think they're more comfortable. And again, with the COVID rules, having to sit 3 days, but you can sign a guy that it's 3 days till he can even come in the building. So I think they're more apt to just bring up their own guys, to tell you the truth. Austin, do you agree that Andy is too quick to start costing us the end of the game? Texans played flat, but the game wasn't out of reach yet. I mean, it can cost you, but I wouldn't say that I'd go that far. You know what I mean? I would like Andy to be a little more aggressive a little bit longer. Matt, do you think Darrell will be used more than he is now? And are there too many mouths to feed? I don't think there's too many mouths to feed. I think there's enough offense to go around, but I do think Darrell will get a little bit more use. Like I said, I think it should get to about a 1/3, 2/3 kind of balance. And that's what it would have been if it hadn't been for those long number of runs there late in the game. Well, the Packers and Saints challenged the Chiefs on the top offense, or the Chiefs considerably better. The Chiefs are better. Considerably, I'm not so sure. Those two quarterbacks, I don't think Breeze played the greatest. I thought Rodgers looked like his old self, to tell you the truth. We'll see if they can sustain that. That's the advantage that Pat has. Do you think Keys is better than Hamilton on this defense? I don't know. I haven't seen Keys. I did his film from Tulane, and he was really raw. If he hasn't improved at all, and he did have a slow camp, he didn't get into camp on time because of the injury, he might not be as good as Hamilton right now. I just don't know because I haven't seen, man. Thoughts on the division from week 1 so far? We'll see what happens with the Broncos tonight, but I thought the Raiders looked decent. Jacobs, Ruggs, watch out for Ruggs. Now you understand why Andy was looking at him. I was pretty high on him pre-draft too. I didn't think they'd really look, but Andy was considering it, and I think that's important. Samuel Elson, what does 4 tight ends say about Reed's trust in Clyde to have a great year? I don't think it says anything about Clyde. I think the 4 tight ends is more about the fact that 2 of the tight ends, Yelder and RSJ, are a little bit banged up. Yelder in particular is real banged up. But they didn't want to lose him, and they felt if they cut him and tried to get him back, he would have been taken on waivers. So I think it's more about the tight end position than anything else. Chris Smith is, if Willie is taking a while to learn the defense, could he at least play a spiral like DOD? Yes, I definitely think he could. And quite frankly, I think he might be a little bit better at it. But again, he hasn't played it down in the NFL, guys. We don't know if he's ready. DOD has. David, thank you very much, as always, for the super chat. And I agree with you. I think the team looks pretty good. A couple of warts, but that's always normal. Thanks again, sir. Let's see who's next. Remember, question marks at the beginning, folks. It helps me find them. There we go. Samuel, how proud are you of Boyo Daniel having a career-boosting game? Give more opportunities. I hope so. He did the same thing, almost the same stat line against the Texans in the playoffs, and it didn't buy him any more reps this time. So less snaps, actually. So we'll see. I'm pulling for him, though. Michael, I have a friend who showed live end zone video showing booze confusion sounds. She explained how fans were booing Texans. Okay. I hope so. I would love to think that. I would hope so. Because I thought, honestly, I know everybody's real uptight about the kneeling. I find that a personal freedom. I'm not worried about it, but I thought what the Chiefs did was really respectful in not having the team kneel for the flag and just standing together. I thought that was good. I know some were bowing, some were, not singing along or whatever, but I thought overall, for trying to bring focus to an issue, I thought that was a pretty respectful way to do it, to tell you the truth. Thoughts on Von Miller and Derwin James being out for the season for Denver and the Chargers, respectively. Does that mean we have a better chance of sweeping the division? Yes, it does mean that there's a better chance, but I thought there was a really good chance already. So I have said since about midsummer, maybe a month after the draft, that I thought the Raiders were the ones that had the most upside to try to come push the Chiefs. Sutton is certainly good in Denver. He's a little banged up as well. Vaughn makes a big difference. And they have some young guys on the offense. They have a good wide receiving core. We're going to see them later tonight. So that may be shifting a little bit, but I'm still fairly confident that the Raiders are going to push a lot. But yeah, I don't see any reason the Chiefs can't sweep it again. Norman, how are you? What do you think of the reason that Willie's not out there? I just think it's learning curve. He didn't play much in college. I think he's just a little bit behind, but I think he'll get there. He seems really enthusiastic. They're putting him out front in the media. That usually means that they're confident in him. I'm gonna ride that until I find a reason not to. Avery, with the run game being better this season, our play action game will be dangerous. Whose tight end numbers benefit more, Hill, Kelce, or other? That's a really good question. The big benefit of play action is pulling defenders up from the mid-levels. I still feel like teams are going to play deep really conservatively and play back there. So I don't know that it's going to help Hill as much. I think the play action is going to help Kelce. I think it's going to help Hardman in between the hashes, running down the middle and doing those intermediate crossers at like 12 to 18 yards. I think that's going to be money in the play action game. Ivory, remember to pay attention to Tedder Thompson. If he can pop, we're rolling. Absolutely, Ivory. I thought that he got good time. And the fact that he was in there a little bit early, sprinkling in, and then he got a lot of time in the fourth quarter, I think that's all good. Samuel, do you think David Johnson played good early? Yes. Or do you think linebackers and D-line were given the opportunity? I think a bit of both. There were some missed assignments on the defensive side, and I think he looks like he's better in terms of health than he was last year. Adrian Gonzalez, where did our defense go towards the end of the game? They got young guys in, and they got a little sloppy. And by sloppy, I don't mean tackling. I mean about assignments. Why have we not went and got a corner? I wish I had an answer because I would have done it months ago. That's a good question, Nicholas. Firefighter Farmer, how are you? What happened with Neiman? I don't know. Maybe it was rust. Maybe it was nerves being a starter for the first time. I'm not sure. Townsend, look good. Clean holds. Yep. Okay. I got you. You said that before. Hopefully I'm scrolling right, you guys. David, I also thought other than tackling, Steve did well. Yeah, I think so too. He had a couple of plays he'd probably like to have back. I know the touchdown run, he got sucked into the middle of the field and didn't get back outside. And I said at the time, and I still feel this way, I think that's just learning curve. That's just understanding that even guys that are 230 pounds are still better athletes than you saw in college. I think that's just getting used to the NFL speed. I think he'll be absolutely fine. And I'm really encouraged by where he started. Oh, Becky, I'm sorry. Aaron, could you maybe find that? I will answer that here in a moment. Thanks, Becky. I appreciate you getting back, too. Adam, when will Willie Gay get more involved? I hope this week, but I'm thinking it's more a week or two away. Let's see. Ryan White, what's your personal opinion on D-Rob performed and the prospects of Hardman and Pringle taking snaps from him going forward? I'm on the record. I'm over the concentration drops, and that's what I call it. The one over his shoulder, I could even give him that one. The one at the back of the end zone going sideways, I think he should have made that catch. I'm a little disappointed in that. And I think Robinson getting targets, not necessarily snaps, but targets over Hardman is something that I don't like. That's my opinion, and I'll stick to it. Here it is. Thank you, Becky, for your patience, and I'm sorry you missed you the first time. And Aaron, thank you for catching me up and minding my P's and Q's as always. You're the man. Becky asked, your thoughts on Snead's performance and his ceiling for the season. That's a good point. Got her late. Sorry if you already addressed this. No worries. I have a couple times, but in general, really happy with where he started in terms of the game. First quarter was a little bit and then he improved and he improved and he improved. Very happy with where he is now. And performance for the season. Even if Travaris comes back, I think he can be the starting quarter until Breeland returns. And then I think it's going to be about putting him in places. I think he has the ability to pass Rashad Fenton as the third corner by the end of the year. It's going to be about how many reps he continues to get once Bashad's back and if Travaris is back at the same time. If one of those guys is out, he's going to get plenty of playing time and he will continue to progress. And that's going to push him above Fenton eventually. Probably by midseason would be my guess. That's a great question. And Becky, I'm sorry I missed you the first time. Thank you, Aaron. Ivory, Frank and Chris Jones had sacks, but I think they could have finished more sacks than a lot. Yeah, I think they both played fine. I think Frank got run around a little bit. He did that one duck under that they televised and really went back to, and I thought that was great. But I'd like to see him really grind the power so that he can force the corner more. You know what I mean? And that comes with just getting that rip under more and getting underneath the tackle's arm. I think he just allowed himself to get pushed a little bit too far. Now, maybe that was concept. It could very well be that either Brendan Daly or Steve Spagnuolo wanted him to play more of a looping rush in order to contain Deshaun because Deshaun will break pocket really easy. So that's just my preference. That could have been exactly what the coaching staff told him to do. So don't hold that against Frank. That's just my opinion. Let's see who's next. Looking for those question marks. Samuel, did you see the Raven game? Only the highlights. Lamar's scary. Yeah, he's always scary. I'm with you there. Let's see. Second, his arm is second to pain. That'd be great. I mean, good for him. I like Lamar, and I like that everybody counted him out in the draft cycle, and now he's making them pay. So good for him. How much does our nasty pass rush help the young CBs? It's keeping them healthy. I'll tell you that. If they have to cover an extra second and a half, they're going to be in trouble. Even Snead, even though he's got the recovery speed, it's going to happen. Norman, rumors have Snead balling out the next 3 games, then be putting Breeland on the back seat. I don't think that's going to happen. Dave Merritt, the defensive backs coach, Sam Madison, the cornerbacks coach, and Steve Spagnuolo, they all respect experience. I expect Breezy to be a starter when he comes back. Even if L'Jarius has interceptions in these next couple of games. The fact is, if he can do that, if he can play early in the season when their other teams are still rusty and he can get all those reps and make an impact, that's great. Sit him down, let him learn some more film from Bashad. I know Bashad's had his run-ins and he's had his hiccups. Bashad's a really good player. He's got a lot of experience and he can teach. And I think that's going to be key. You saw him on social media shouting out Snead. I think that's a great thing to see. All right, I'm going to start hitting the super chats because we're almost at an hour, folks. Man, you guys ask great questions, and I'm sorry it takes me so long to answer them. Jason Streeter, I was surprised, but I do like seeing Sammy get the ball more. I'd like to see a balance there, and I think eventually that will open things up for Tyreek again. Next game, will it be 50-50? Aaron, I wish that it would. Thank you for your super chat very much. I appreciate it. So does Dan, so does Danilo, and so does Aaron. We're all working together. And the RGR team is probably going to grow this season too, so keep an eye out for that. I would love it if it was a 50-50. I don't expect to see that again, to tell you the truth. I think Andy would just make me too happy to do that. But I will be very happy if they can keep it above 40%. I'd like to see 42-44. Dave, everything that I type anywhere has a misspelling. I'm terrible. Not only do I voice type on my tweets, which I just need to stop doing, I have dyslexia and I just go too fast when I'm typing on a keyboard. So my apologies. Ryan White, I saw a few times Neiman getting taken advantage of athletically. Will Gay make the plays that he can't? He has the ability to make the plays that he can't. I don't know that he will. It's about understanding your assignment and having the ability to do it. Willie clearly has the ability. It'll be about how fast he can learn to be assignment sound. With Okafor having a hamstring strain, do you think we'll see Taco next week? That would be my guess. But from what I understand, it was a slight strain. There is certainly in the realm of possibility that he could recover by game time, especially given they had 3 extra days. Yeah. Jay, how are you? Should DeMarcus fall down the depth chart? Like, not fall, but I think he should lose a few snaps to McCole, especially, and even to Byron. I think Byron should get more chances. Sorry, I meant you could take Kalichi on the bench press. Oh, good Lord, no. Kalichi's arms are like 7 miles long. He's still way stronger than me. That was never my thing. My power's all in the lower body. Is RSJ the number 2 tight end when healthy? Do you like Nick Keiser? I was impressed. In fact, today I said Nick Keiser was one of my risers. He played better than I expected him to. But I do think that RSJ is the backup when he's healthy, because he can do the things splitting out and things like that I think Travis can do. Not as good as Travis, but more like Travis than Keiser can, is my opinion. Adam, when will Willie Gay emerge? I'm hoping in 2 weeks. I'm not sure. Nicholas, do you see a bunch of DOD and Willie Gay to combat Lamar? I think that's a concept. If they can get the Ravens down by 2 scores, I think you could see something like that. I could also see Willie and Sorensen, that kind of thing. But I'd be intrigued by Willie and DOD out there together, especially because you can rush 3 at that point and blitz one of them. Then you have a spy and a blitzer, and I love that. Thoughts on now upcoming Chiefs-Ravens games? I'll get to that when we get to that. Uwa? I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me how to pronounce that correctly so I don't massacre it next time. Sorry. Ryan, I just think we force feed CH until defenses have no choice. Yeah, that'd be fun, but that'll wear CEH out. So, hey. Let's see. Do you expect young guys to play against the Chargers? Yeah, I think they're going to have to. I don't think there's any real way around that, to tell you the truth. Let's see. Samuel, in my opinion, the boos were just crowd noise rather than booing. That's cool. I hope you're right. I can only go off what I hear because I didn't. Not only was I not in the stadium, I didn't get to see the news reports or anybody locally that was there too. So that's in general. I would probably have a better idea then. Who's the next guy Veach pays? Hill, Ward, or Field? Not sure. I think honestly, the next guy in line for a contract is going to be Charvarius Ward. You could do the Hill extension. I think he's under contract 21 and 22, but you could do Ward first. That may be it. Let's see. Again, same answer, you guys. I don't know anything for sure. I just think Willie just needs a little more time to cook. You know what I mean? Chris, thank you for your super chat. Appreciate it very much. Plus the sticker from before. Well, it was missed earlier. Oh, before and after the sticker. I'm sorry. But which of the wide receivers below Hardman could benefit the most from D-Rob snaps, if not Hardman? I think it's definitely Pringle. Kemp is there to play special teams. He could benefit. Marcus Kemp showed some progress, quite frankly, up until last year when he got hurt. So, I mean, he would benefit as well, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think Pringle is the next guy up, and I think Pringle has not only the speed, but he's been playing his butt off on special teams, just like Kemp, and I think he actually has better route running ability. So he's the next guy that I would like to see get some reps. Do you think Darwin will pass Darrell Williams? Gabe, no, I do not. They're going to be your 1-2 punch, CEH and Darrell, until there's a reason not to be, like an injury. Thank you. But seriously, any suggestions of how to watch the Chiefs games live if out of market I live in Indy and I don't have Sunday ticket? That's a tough one, man. They're cracking down on anybody who's streaming it illegally. I've had a lot of people ask me that. I just get Sunday ticket. That's the only way that I can see it consistently, to tell you the truth. Do you think Andy will get a sponsorship from RainX or FogX? I would love to see that, Opie. Chief Rocca, how are you, bud? I like the balance attack, but what do you give our chances for some big plays next week and getting back to our roots? I think you're probably right. I don't think they're going to continue to try and establish the run as much. I think they'll pull back some. I just hope they don't go back to what we saw Was it last season, the season before? It was like 31.8% run. I don't think that's enough. I think it's got to be in the low 40s to be effective, and I hope that they do. But I agree with you. They want to go downtown too, and it's the Chargers. Chargers are going to play him tough, even though Chargers are beat up. They don't have a quarterback. I don't think you're going to see Herbert. I think Tyrod's going to be the guy. I think they're going to run. That Kelly kid looked good. So they're going to try to attack with the run, do some play action, that kind of thing. The Chiefs have an opportunity to go up big, and I think the pass game is what's going to get them there. That defense is still good, even without Derwin. So great question, Rock. I'm glad you made it. What teams this season look like the biggest threat to the Chiefs? I still contend the Ravens are the best in the AFC, and it's you're going to shoot me when I say this. I think it's Green Bay now. I had said 49ers and Saints. Now I think it might be Green Bay and Saints. If Aaron continues to be Aaron like that, it's going to be fun. And I know we're over, guys. I'm going to try to hit these last couple, and we'll be out, and we'll be back next week. Without the mistakes of Philip Rivers, how do you see the Chiefs defense maintain the upper edge on the Chargers? Well, I think there are holes in the defense at the back of the Chargers. Chris Harris is over there, though. The guy used to be in Denver, so that is a concern. But I still think that it's about their offense not being able to keep up. So it is what it is, and I'm going to see how it comes down. But you're right, Philip did always help them out. How are our offense fare against it? I don't think it'll be a problem. I'm probably going to still be in the low 30s on the Chiefs. Does the first 10 goals inside the 5 with 4 chances to go out at night getting this done bother you? And what do you say about the offensive line? Like I said earlier, they got to get better. They got to be able to hit somebody in the face and move them off the ball in the short yardage. So rock on, Dave. Okay, I didn't get that. I thought you were talking about my terrible spelling. I'm bad. Ask my co-host on Locked On, Chris Clark. He'll tell you just how bad I am. I am terrible. Did you guys catch the news break on Mahomes being part of the owner of the kid? Yeah, that was pretty fun, right? It's a small piece, but it's a piece. And I think for a guy who grew up on baseball, good for him. Are you surprised Juan played the first game? No. I thought he might not play as much. He actually played more than I thought he would. I thought they'd give him a solid half and maybe go with that, but I think he looks great. And Andy said specifically today that Juan looks good and he felt good the next day. That's what's important. Did you see Dirty Dan play linebacker? What do you think? Deldrick, like I said, I'd like him at strong safety. The nickel backer thing, if you're running 3 backers, okay, or if you're going to run that single backer where he's outside the tackle box, I don't like him in between the tackles. Dan gets caught up, and you saw that. He got beat up by some linemen. Now, that's also just because Dan's, I think, a little bit rusty, and he's getting to the point in his career where he's not quite as quick as he used to be. He used to be able to get under those blocks and get away. I think he's got to be more in that rover thing. So I am looking for them to play kind of that like 4-1-7 kind of thing. 4-1. Did I do my math right? 4-1-6. Sorry. Good Lord. Now I can't even do math, Dave. Sorry. Marmar asked, sorry I missed it, Marmar. Could you please give me your thoughts on Badger, on being passive on coming up on tackles and friend relationship with the Texans? I think I doubt it was the relationship. I mean, Deshaun, it was the relationship. He wasn't going to knock him out of bounds and try to take his head off. But it's also, there's no reason. You're up. You don't need to go clobber somebody. And if you're Tyrann Mathieu, normally I like a hard-hitting safety. Ronnie Lott's my favorite safety of all time. Kenny Easley's pretty close. I love that style of play, but when you're 5'9", you got to be a little bit more picky and choosy about where you go try to hit somebody that's 40 pounds heavier than you. So I won't hold that against Tyrann at all. He gets the job done, and I have no complaints about him getting anything done. Yep, we saw that. I'm glad you told us, Taylor. Opie Taylor. I feel like we've met somewhere, but I can't remember. Let's see. Do you think Mahomes will get less than 211 yards again this season? Probably not. Again, I think that was really game plan to get Clyde going, get him used to the game. Now they can back it off and get. I love the balance, and I think balance for Andy is more like a 60-40 split. Speaking of balance, do you think they'll have to do more against the Baltimore Ravens and pass like the last 2 times. I think they probably will. Yeah. The Ravens' defensive front is still pretty good. I don't think they're going to get as good a rushing game against them. I think they will have to throw more heavily. Why did Willie not get a snap? Muhammad, I think it's just preparation. I think he's going to get there, and I don't think it's too far off. And Muhammad, is KO the piece that could take us to the next level? I hope so. I definitely think it has the possibility, but they got to get together, and they got to move people off the ball in the short yardage. Are you surprised about the amount of snaps Dana got? No, I was pretty happy with that, actually. Pretty happy all the way around. And it looks like, folks, that I finally got to the end of the list. I'm sorry it took me so long. Thank you all for hanging in here tonight. Thank you to Aaron for taking care of me and making sure I don't miss people. Thank you to Stevie and everyone else with the super chats. I appreciate the support. As soon as we get film, we're going to do some more film. Dan and I'll have some stats for you this week. We'll have the game plan as always. The timing should be pretty much every day until Thursday, and then we'll see what happens. Anything else, Aaron? Last one, Aaron. What do you think about Deshaun Watson taking a non-team friendly deal? I think good for him. I don't think he should have signed it. I think he tied himself to Bill O'Brien far too long. I would have loved to see Deshaun Watson hit the market and go somewhere that actually appreciated him and would support him more. So that's me. That's it for me tonight. Thank you guys for all of your support and all of your time. We'll be back with you something tomorrow. Check out Locked On Chiefs on Google and Apple Podcasts. I would appreciate that very much. And I am on the national show now on Thursdays on Locked On NFL. So check that as well. Thank you. Have a great night. And I will see you guys next time.